Okay, thank you everyone for joining. First, I would like to welcome our two panelists. We have Lena, who graduated from Bridgewater in 2020 with her Master's of Business. She's originally from Ukraine. And then Ramya, who graduated in 2019 with her Master's of Science in Computer Science. So I just want to say welcome and thank you both for spending some time with us today and sharing your experiences with and on OPT. And I would like to start, maybe Lena, if you would like to go first. If you both could please tell us a little more about yourself, your current or most recent job, and any other jobs that you might have had while on OPT.
Okay, so I'll start. So as Justin mentioned, I'm from Ukraine. I graduated over a year ago with MBA degree. I recently just finished, actually this week finished my OPT year, so now I'm a free bird and enjoying the life. But during my OPT life, I worked in a very small company. It's a diamond wholesale company. So we were working with different jeweler stores, with different other diamond companies and supplying diamonds for them. And I worked in a role of sales and marketing associate. So it was like a mixture of things, to be honest, because it's such a small company, I had to do like a lot of things at once. But I enjoyed it because it gave me a lot of experience. It was my only work during OPT, my only job. So it was pretty good, but I'm happy it ended. And I can pass on to Ramya.
Yeah. My name is Ramya and I'm from India. And I joined BSU in 2017. Yeah, probably. Yeah, 17. No, 18. Sorry, 18. And yeah, since then I've had 3 jobs. I joined Cummins as a software developer when I was on my OPT. And then I got my H1 transferred. So I'm currently on H1 visa. So and after Cummins, I joined HP as again a software engineer. And then now I'm currently joining a local company called Clean Harvest as a software developer lead. So I changed 3 jobs after I graduated in 2019. So yeah, that's it from me.
Great, thank you both. If you would please describe your experiences with OPT, primarily the application process. How did you feel? Were you nervous? Were you anxious? How were you feeling when you were applying for OPT?
Okay, do you want me to go first? Or do you want to take the lead from me?
You can go, please.
Okay. So I applied probably during one of the toughest time of COVID. So did Jen want to say something? No? Oh, okay. Because the COVID was still present, very much so. So I was very anxious because of that, because the government structures were still trying to cope with all the hectic things that were happening during the time. So there were a lot of delays. I'm not exactly sure how it's right now. I hope the situation is much better than during the time I applied for it. But during the time I applied, it was a little stressful, and we were still remote. We didn't have in-person classes, so I didn't really have much social experience to socialize with people who were in the same position. So it was definitely stressful and anxious, but Justin, Jan, Kristen, the whole office definitely helped a lot. I remember I also visited similar webinars with Justin when he explained all the process, how to do it step by step, and it was definitely very clear how to do it. So I just followed the directions, and I was trying to do everything like he said, and it worked out in the end. So recommend, listen to Justin, whatever he says, do it.
Yeah, well, almost the same thing, except for I did not apply the OPT during COVID, so lucky me. And then the process was, I was not really afraid or anxious or even concerned about the OPT because I knew I would get it. And because I had gone through all the paperwork with Justin previously too, so I knew nothing would go wrong. So that part was very clear to me. And yeah, the process was very simple. Of course, there were a lot of paperwork to be handled and we had to be very careful in applying. So we went through, me and my friends, actually, we went through Justin a couple of times. We had, I think we had Zoom call for the second time, right, for the OPT, but for the first time we went through, we met in the office, we went through the paperwork. It was pretty simple and straightforward and everything worked out the way we planned. Yeah.
Great. And I swear I did not pay you both to say all those nice things. But if you could also share with us, what is one thing you wish you knew before you applied for OPT?
For me, if it's one thing, it's definitely apply as early as possible, like apply day one that you can apply, because I received my card later that I wanted to, and also I applied. So I guess my second but similar advice would be, if you don't know, if you don't have a job lined up and you're not confident that you're gonna get it as soon as you graduate the next day, maybe take some time, because I believe like there are 60 days where you can, after you graduate, you have the 60 days. So maybe take more time to find this job. So don't maybe apply like right away after you graduate. If you are not 100% confident and you don't have a job lined up again, but apply as soon as possible. Don't wait. Don't be like me, because I applied, I think like, I didn't apply late. I applied maybe like a month or two before graduating, and I saw that this was enough time, but in the end it appeared that it wasn't enough time and my card arrived late, and because of that, the amount of opportunities that I could have had, I didn't have. So definitely like be good with timing.
Yeah, it's almost the same thing what Lena told, but I would like to add a few things here. Apply your OPT early, but make sure the start date you put, you're confident that you're going to get the job during that period of time. Because the mistake, it's not a mistake. The only thing I wish I knew was the COVID was going to come. So I graduated right during the COVID time. So finding a job was so difficult for me, and all the lined up, interviews got canceled. So due to which, I was so anxious whether or not, my OPT days would run out. So luckily I was able to find something in between that time. But that's what I would say. If you're not confident of getting a job, make sure you move your start date a little ahead, or whenever you would like to, are able to find a jobs in that case. So that is the only advice I would just add along with what she told. Yeah.
Yeah, and as we all know, COVID is still real. It's still a thing that's happening, unfortunately. But something both of you have mentioned, I will just provide you info. Things have gotten a little bit better. Processing times have improved. So Lena, sorry you went through with that. And the job market, Ramya, has rebounded.
Yep.
It's still not great, but it has rebounded quite a bit for our current students, thankfully.
Happy to hear that.
If you both could please share what resources you utilize during the job search process. So after you got approved for OPT, how did you get out there and start looking for jobs? Any websites, professional networks, anything like that?
So I tried different methods, and I tried the basic ones everyone knows, like Indeed, Glassdoor, LinkedIn. But the only thing I did differently, I guess, I didn't apply directly through those websites. I found the positions, and then I went to the company's websites and I tried to find it directly on the company's websites, or tried to find some maybe HR information, their emails, or information about from the employees that work there. Maybe I have some connections, or maybe there are some people who can connect me with someone from that company, because from what I experienced and from what I've heard, a lot of the resumes, applications that you send through the big channels like those Glassdoor, Indeed, they just get filtered and you don't get to the HR person. So try your best to get directly to them. Even if you find this job application like on a big website, try to then go from there to more narrow, I guess, roads, and try to find a real person, not just like a big machine. Find a real person who can help you get that job. Another thing I used, I guess, was just like general LinkedIn. I tried to see if there are any, like right now, I know there are like people who have this hashtag like open to work, and then the other one like hiring. So maybe if you see someone with this hiring mark, maybe you can reach out to them and see like what jobs they have to offer, if they know anyone who can help you. Yeah.
Yeah, about me, I would say, I don't know about other fields, but in software world, reference, matters a lot. You need to have contacts. If you have somebody who's already working in a company you're aspiring to join, you should have good contact and make sure you apply through them. So that's the way I was able to get calls. I have probably applied around 300, 400 applications in Glassdoor, LinkedIn, and ZipRecruiter. There are like plenty of the websites, but I hardly receive 1 or 2 calls, and being an international student, they would even not proceed further. So so it was pretty not easy for me through all these links, all these websites, but a reference mattered a lot. So my friends, I contacted my previous friends, my husband's colleagues, or my friend's husband's colleagues, or something like that. You find connections through them. If you apply, it's going to be a smooth sail. At least you'll be able to, get a call from the HR, and you can at least go attend an interview.
Yeah.
Thank you both. Now, besides those online networks and websites, did you happen to go through BSU Career Services for any assistance, maybe with your resume, cover letter, or interview skills? If you did you find their services helpful? If not, why didn't you go there? And were there any other resources you might have used with the resume, cover letter, and interview skills process?
I do have experience with their help. I did, I think twice. They helped me with my resume, which was very good because they have like a good opinion. They provide you feedback. They structure your resume. Although they don't write it for you, they're not going to be like, okay, let me write it for you. You still have to do your work, you have to do your homework, but they kind of have an opinion on it, and they can analyze and reflect, help you reflect on it. So that's definitely useful, definitely advise. The other thing that I did, I don't know if they will have it again, but during my time at BSU, they had like a mock interview event where they invited some professionals from outside of BSU. They invited some entrepreneurs or, I don't know, owners of companies, and they tried to help students to have this mock interview where they ask you questions as if you are interviewing in a position. Obviously, you're not gonna get hired, but you have the experience of how the interview process goes, what questions they can ask. You kind of feel yourself still a little bit anxious and nervous because you are talking to a new person. So it gives you a little bit of a practice to see how you would act on a real interview. So if they have something like this, I would definitely recommend attending those as well.
Yeah, well, for me too, career services helped a lot, be it for the cover letter or for the resume. But only thing I would say is when you're a software professional, the career service advises you keep the resume within 2 pages, which is most likely not possible. So I ended up having around 3 to 4 pages, which is fine, still fine. So even though they tell you to keep it just 2 pages, you can go 1 more or 2 more pages, that's fine. So apart from that advice, I took everything else, what they advised me, and it worked out well in most of the places, especially the cover page was a big help for me from Career Services. Yeah.
Happy to hear you both had positive experiences with them. And that's something I always recommend to students at the OPT workshop. So anyone listening, when you attend a workshop, I'll drive this point home, but don't wait till then. As soon as you can, go to Career Services for this type of help. So then thinking back at your time at BSU, you kind of already mentioned coming to some of the OPT workshops when you were a student. Were there any other resources, workshops, programs, or events that maybe helped you or helped prepare you for your job or for OPT? Could be outside of our office. It could be maybe with your academic department. Like, what other resources did you take advantage of?
So I think number one for me was the club that I was a part of. I was a part of a marketing club, and they were really good at organizing some events that helped me eventually. One of them was the trips like to the companies. So we had a trip to Staples headquarters, and then we had a trip to WordStream company. It's in Prudential in Boston. And I know they had a couple more, but I couldn't attend those. But the ones that I attended, they were definitely a great help because we were first of all, we toured the company, so we saw how company works from inside. But most importantly, the person who gave us those tours, they were HR representatives. So we asked them for their LinkedIn information, and I added them on LinkedIn. I commented on their posts once in a while. I liked their posts, so I kind of kept connection with them. And then when I was looking for a job, I messaged both of them, and one of the recruiters, she was working at a new company, but she still offered me to interview for a position. Unfortunately, that position wasn't too interesting for me, but it was still a job opportunity that I created solely from this event that I visited during my time at BSU. So definitely, if you have, and I know that not only my club, other organizations in BSU did the same thing when they went to tour a company. And that's a great way to network, because for us international students, the hardest part is network, because that's how a lot of people get their jobs through networking. And being an international student, not knowing anyone, it's definitely a great help to go in and find those people that you can potentially network and work with later on.
Yeah, for me, unfortunately, I could not join any clubs except for the chess club, which BSU has. But I was dedicated to other. I knew I would end up having a job being a software developer. So I knew what the market currently is and what they're looking for. So what I did was, whatever the course academics did not offer, I went through, and in Udemy or even in LinkedIn there is a course of where you can improve your skills. So I did take few of the courses even before I graduate, so that I have everything ready and I'm ready for the markets. So that's what basically I did. I did Udemy courses along with what BSc had to offer for our masters.
Great, thank you both. Could you now describe the interview and hiring process? So what was it like actually going for interviews, waiting for those phone calls, and do you have any advice?
So because it was still a COVID situation, most of my interviews were just online or over the phone. So I didn't have that many interviews, to be honest, so I don't have too much of an experience. But from what I've experienced, usually the first one was just HR person, a person from HR department. So they will ask you general questions like, tell me about yourself. What do you want? Why do you want to work for this company? Like, and then you can ask them questions also general, like, what do your company look like? Why do you like working for this company? So more of like general get to know you questions. And then the second round of interviews, it's mostly was like the department manager or the person who you will be working closely with, and they will ask you more like job related questions to see how skilled you are at what they want you to be doing. And also my work that I worked for, they were not remote, so I did go to the office and I toured the office and I looked how everything looks from inside. So I think I was one of the lucky people, or unlucky, who didn't have to work remotely the whole year. So I did meet still a lot of people, and I experienced like Boston office life. So I'm still happy about that. So yeah, that's how it went for me. But again, I don't have, unfortunately, too much experience with the interview process.
Well, for me, it was terrible because it was right in the COVID, and I had around 10 interview schedules. All of them got cancelled. And I was like, okay, then started applying again. And fortunately, I attended a few of them, which gave me confidence, even though I did not get selected due to my status, because they wanted somebody who is having a green card or, citizen. But yet, I was able to at least get through the first round, and the second round, when they got to know my status, they told no, but still it gave me a sense of confidence. I was able to, clear a couple of the rounds, and it kept me going. And then after that, I was able to crack this interview. It was pretty tough for me because it was a software developer role, and my confidence level was also quite low by then because of all this COVID situation. It was coding interviews, which was the most difficult part, but I was able to get through in one of the interviews, and yeah, finally ended up in having a very good job.
Great. And now leading into that, you both kind of alluded also to what has it been like working in the US? Any pros or cons compared to working in your home countries?
So I guess I'm also one of the lucky or unlucky people who didn't have to work in Ukraine, because my parents provided for me, and I was a lucky daughter of my parents, I guess. So I didn't have much work experience in my home country, but from experience of my friends and people that I know, working in the US is it's good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. As I mentioned before, luckily I had the office experience. I worked in downtown Boston, so I got to see the park, the common every day. I got to go to cafes before my work day. So it was definitely like movie life at the beginning when I was still happy. I was like, oh my God, I mean, the movie, especially like I started working during like April. So the weather is nice, it's sunny, it's warm. So it was definitely like good to go in the office. I don't know how like companies work right now. I know a lot of people still work remotely, so that's different. But I definitely like the fact that I worked in the office and met many people, gained new skills, definitely. But I mentioned, I don't know if people who are watching this, they know, but I used to work with ISSS. I used to be a GA for them, and I mentioned to Jen and Justin that they were the best bosses, and that's true. Like you still are working, you still have to do what you're asked to do. So it's definitely not a piece of pie. You're definitely gonna have some challenges. You're definitely gonna have some difficult moments, but it's a part of life. It's a part of learning and growth.
Okay, well, for me, I have worked both in USA as well as in India. So the work culture is almost similar because in IT world, it looks the same way. You'll have clients from all over the world. It could be from, China, it could be from US. I have handled clients from all over the world, US, UK, China. So it's like a diverse world, whether you're working here or you're working from your home country. But one thing I would say here, the culture a bit different here compared to India, because the competition is very much over there. And here you are appreciated for what the work you're doing. There you have to be on top to get appreciated. So that's the only difference. I wouldn't say that's negative, but because of the competition, you're never so good. So yeah, that's the only difference I would say. Yeah, otherwise working, it's the same. So you do the same coding here or there.
Great, thank you. Now, any other challenges either of you have experienced throughout this whole process? Is there anything else you feel comfortable sharing that you haven't already mentioned?
Let's see, what other challenges? I think looking back at my process, my biggest challenge was still like the hiring process and looking for a job. It was definitely a challenge. And then I guess it's like everything in life, you have ups and downs. I definitely have had some challenges at my work as well, when I felt like I just want to leave everything and go home because I miss my mom and my grandma. I don't know. So you definitely will have those moments, but never give up. You like keep on doing what you do, because after every down, there will be definitely an up. So just whenever you feel maybe lonely and that you're not appreciated at work, like try to maybe talk to your family or to your friends and find some support from the people that you love and trust.
Well, for me, challenges were, definitely there, whether, during studying or, during finding the job, or when you're on OPT or when you're on H1, when you get rejected and all that. But it's the part, I believe, and you have to take it in a positive way. So whenever you see there is a hurdle or a challenge, you get stronger. So that's what I believed, and that's what happened with me too. So every time I came up with a rejection, I was like, okay, maybe I'm better for a better job. I should look for a better job or something like that. So which gave me a lot of motivation. And apart from other challenges, I was a mom, so I had different challenges to face too. So yeah, but everything went pretty smooth with all the, the way I took it, things became so smooth, and now I'm pretty happy with I've achieved. And I would just say the same thing to you all. So take challenges in a very positive way. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So I do have one more question we kind of prepared. But before I ask it, I do want to just clarify for folks what H1b status is, or what the H1b visa is. So oftentimes international students, when they do OPT, they may have the opportunity through their employer to file for an H1b change of status. So changing from F1 to H1b. This is an employment category. So you're no longer under an F1 student. You would transition into the H1b employee category, and you're under the sponsorship of that employer. So there's a bit of an application involved. There's a request through USCIS. And it's also not guaranteed. So just because an application is submitted, it's a lot harder to get than OPT. So I do want to ask, have either of you applied for the H1b? If you did, what was that process like? And kind of any advice or information you'd like to share about H1b?
I'll be short and sweet. I did not apply to H1b because unfortunately my company didn't have this opportunity, but if they had, I would 100% do it, and I know it's great, and many of my friends have it, and I think it's amazing opportunity. So if you have a chance or your company offers this, definitely take it. Yeah, go for it. But I haven't, so not much to add here, unfortunately.
Well, for me, they have applied, so I was able to find a job. And I was able to negotiate right in the beginning that I want H1 to be applied. So that's one thing I did, which worked out really well for me. And my H1 process was pretty smooth because I was lucky to be selected in the lottery, because H1 is a lottery process now. You have to be lucky to get picked, and I was able to get picked. And even the application process, the company took care of everything, so I did not have to really worry anything. You know, the attorneys would ask you the documents, and you just have to submit. And if there is anything missing, they would get back, and you know, things were very smooth. And the process would take more time, but it's simple. You could do it, and the company could do it together. So that's it. Yeah, pretty simple. Luckily, I was able to get my H1 in the first year itself of OPT, and then you know, I did not apply for when I was on the first year of OPT, but during my STEM OPT I applied, and I was able to get my H1. Yeah.
Thank you both. And Ramya, just if you could please clarify and follow up on this topic. Did you mention that when you applied to the job and were offered the position on OPT, you were able to negotiate at that point the plan
Yes.
to move on to H1b? How
Yes.
did you do that?
So they would obviously, you know, tell you that it's too early, and they would, you know, put me, and they would, you know, check my performance. Only if the performance is good, we will do that and all that stuff. But even before that, I would give them a sense of confidence, you know, that would not be necessary, you know. Yeah, obviously you can see my performance and then decide, but you know, that would not be necessary. So they were really happy with the you know, answers I gave them, and they were ready to do my H1 in the first year itself. But I wanted to take time, because I wanted to switch. Once you have your H1 applied to a company, you will not be able to change job. So so I was not happy because I'm from a different technical word. So my work was not actually I was supposed to get. So I was not sure. So what I did was I told them to wait for the next year. But unfortunately, COVID didn't help me. So I had to stick to the same employer. And I was able to get my H1 in the next year. Otherwise, I probably would have got in the first year itself.
Well, thank you. That's very impressive. And, you know, I appreciate you sharing that. It's always one of those things where I think a lot of, you know, even Americans are unsure of what can we negotiate when, you know, accepting a new position. There's always this, like, am I asking too much, or, you know, judging your own confidence level. So it's very refreshing, and I'm very happy to hear that you were able to advocate for yourself, and that you ultimately were able to, you know, with all the challenges that the timeline presented, and you know, everything that happened, you know, I'm happy to hear that you were able to, you know, kind of get to your end goal. So before I move into questions from the audience, I do want to just say, do either of you have any final advice, any parting thoughts, like just anything you really would like to share?
I guess in terms of OPT process, listen to Justin, do what he says. In terms of hiring, not hiring, looking for jobs process, try to see if you have any connections with anyone within US companies. It doesn't even have to be HR representative, but anyone within the company who could be a referral to you, because a lot of times the companies, the employees even benefit from referring. They get like a bonus if they attract someone new to the company. So definitely, if you have someone that you know who works in the US, ask them if they can help you to find a job. Don't be shy, don't be afraid. Yeah, and just again, be confident. You know that you know what you know, and you will succeed. Don't be afraid. Everything will be great.
Yeah, to addition to that, I would say, suppose if you have listed few companies you are interested into, and if they have any positions, I would suggest you to do a complete research of what are the roles and responsibilities they're looking for, and based on that, prepare yourself. Whether you could just Google or join similar courses online. There are plenty of courses which are free. So that's what I basically did when I got rejected in one of the interviews because of certain skills which I did not we did not have. So I went and learned those, skill set. So that's the best way, and when you do that, you are becoming very confident to attend the next interview, and probably, you can get a job easily based on that.
Great. So thank you both. I do want to jump in because I did see Kemi popped a question into the chat. She thanked you both for touching upon this question, but I would like to ask it and then clarify and then offer it to you all for any additional remarks. But so Kemi had asked, how long after I graduate should I apply, or do I apply before I graduate for OPT? So any students who are nearing graduation in your final semester, we will do OPT workshops. You can attend any workshop, prior to your graduation semester. So if you're graduating next semester, you could have attended them this semester, but we do request everyone attend one their final semester, because some of these rules about the application process and some of the forms may change. And we'd like to give everyone up-to-date information each semester. But currently, the way it stands and historically, students are eligible to apply for OPT up to 90 days before their graduation date. And graduation would be the last day of finals for that semester, not the ceremony, the commencement where you walk across the stage. Graduation is the last day of finals for that semester. So 90 days before, or as late as 60 days after. So it's a 5-month window that students could submit an application to OPT. As Lena and Ramya have touched upon, one of the things I always emphasize to students is that you submit your application as early as possible if you know you want to apply for OPT. The nice thing about that 60-day window afterwards, you still have some wiggle room to submit an application, but it is still better, in my opinion, and I think Lena and Ramya agree, to get that application off as soon as possible in the 90-day window, to at least give you that peace of mind and buy you more time, or buy you the most time to work, which would be 12 months initially. So I don't, Lena, Ramya, you don't have to, but do you have anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, definitely, like, apply the first day you can, like 90 days, you can, like 90 days before graduation. So whenever it's 90 days before graduation, send in your documents, like the first day you can, just, yes, go, go for it. Because as I mentioned, I applied, I think it was like 60 days, like 2 months before my graduation. And I was planning to, and my, start date I put as February 14th, which was exactly 60 days after graduation. So I thought 4 months is gonna be enough. Like, I'll have so much time. I'm submitting it early, and I got it. But then eventually, like, I was late. I still missed some time. It was like a mess. But again, Justin mentioned that it's better now, so maybe you don't have to apply as early. But still, like, definitely apply as early as you can.
Yeah, same. And I take Justin and ISSS people so seriously. Whatever they say, I just follow. And I have done that so far. Nothing has gone bad, or nothing has gone like I've not planned. So I would just suggest, just follow, apply early, like Justin says, and just follow the things, follow the paperwork, whatever you're supposed to do, everything will go smoothly.
Sorry, muted still. Thank you both. So Jen actually did have a question that I'm going to ask you. So when you were thinking about OPT, and then even after when you were hunting for jobs, did you want to stay in Massachusetts, or were you looking for jobs elsewhere in different parts of the country? Because as you know, on OPT, you're eligible to work anywhere in the United States, and that includes territories like Puerto Rico, and Guam. So any US territory you could work. Did you want to stay in Mass, or did you look elsewhere?
I wanted to stay in Mass because I knew already at least some people, so I felt like at home here. It was definitely the only place I was also looking for was Houston, but only because I have my best friend there. So I knew if I moved to Houston, at least I'll also have at least someone there. but I didn't look anywhere that I didn't know anyone, because it was COVID, it was stressful enough for me, so I was not ready to like do such a big step as like go to totally something new. But again, if people just feel brave enough, why not? I don't see why not.
I actually was looking only in Massachusetts in the beginning because my family is here, my husband works here, so I did not have any interest to move out. But as I started, losing interviews which are scheduled to me, and I was ready to go try out for a few nearby states like Rhode Island or Connecticut or New Hampshire. But luckily during that time it was all remote. So my first project was in Indiana, but where I did from here. So I basically worked from here for a company which is in Indiana. So it was basically remote. But yeah, I did not want to move out of Massachusetts. I have my family here, my friends here. So this is where I want to be.
Thank you both. Now, those are the only questions that I've gotten so far. So, sorry, Kristen. Are there any stipulations for a person in-person versus virtual jobs for OPT? Is it worth trying to apply for virtual jobs to stay in preferred location? So to answer that question, this is something that I would like to focus on more when it comes to the upcoming OPT workshop next semester. Because like I said, the rules and regulations can vary and change. Under COVID, the government has allotted more opportunity for folks to work remotely. I don't know exactly how that will look, say next fall, when students graduate in December. But currently right now there is the provision for folks to work remotely. But the future is uncertain. We're hoping that maybe they can stay flexible and open-minded, especially as COVID goes away and life returns to normal to some extent. Hopefully they understand that a lot of businesses will potentially continue with remote working, since I think a lot of people do enjoy working from home to some extent where possible. But when it comes to the government, we don't exactly know what the plan will be. So any other questions that are like specific to OPT application or regulations? Like I'll happy to answer those. But does anyone have any questions for Lena or Ramya about their experiences? Feel free to unmute if you'd like to. And then I think Kristen just asked, what was your favorite memory at BSU?
Graduating. Yeah, the grad walk was the best memory I have. And of course, for me, as I'm an Indian, ISSS arranged a Holi. I don't know if you guys remember. I hope you remember. Yeah. So
we might be doing that again.
Yeah, that was another memorable moment, where we all had fun with colors. So yeah, that's it.
For me, I think it was the very first days, because it was like something I never experienced. I never was a student of the American university. I think it was like the orientation, the first orientation where we met everyone. I just didn't know what to expect. I didn't prepare myself for anything. I was open-minded for whatever waits for me, but mostly I was thinking, okay, it's gonna be boring. We're just gonna sit for hours and gonna listen to stuff. And it turned out to be so fun. I met so many people. We did games, we did this. We have food, like they gave us breakfast and they gave us lunch. What? I was just so happy about it. I don't know, it was just, and a lot of swag, like people were bringing like t-shirts, and I don't know, it was just so fun, great. So I think the first days of BSU was my favorite ones. Plus it wasn't COVID yet, so at least we it was like social, we were like all together, no masks, so it was great.
So just, I guess we'll leave it for just maybe 2 more minutes. Does any of our students have any questions they would like to ask? Now's the time. Feel free to pop it in the chat or unmute. If you don't have any questions, then we'll just go ahead and wrap this up in a minute. But if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them now.
Hello, everybody. I'm good. I don't have any questions. I just want to appreciate them for being open-minded. I thank you so much. That's what I just want to
Good
say.
luck, guys. I wish
Thank
you
you.
good luck.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you, Ramya. Thank you, Lena. Really appreciate you both helping us today and sharing your experience, dedicating this time to join us. The one nice thing that came out of COVID is that it makes these types of things a lot easier to do.
Yeah.
And it's great to see you both again. I really appreciate it. And I know, as Kemi just said, all our students will appreciate this as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys, for inviting.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, ISSS team and BSU for all the opportunity. Yeah, I appreciate. And I have recommended so many